On September 20th, 2026, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child will be performed in its original form for the very last time. Not the last time this season, not the last time in London, the last time anywhere in the world, ever. After that night, the story J.K. Rowling called the 8th Harry Potter story ceases to exist as a live performance, and it is not just being shortened, it is being rewritten. The villain barely appears in the new version. 2 characters are simply gone. And the relationship at the center of the entire play, the one that defined the story and divided the fandom for 10 years, has been fundamentally changed. Not clarified. Changed. I went through every reported difference between the original 2-part version and the new 1-part version that takes over in London on October 9th. And what I found is not a condensed version of the same story. It is a different story with the same title. The published script you can still buy in a bookshop describes a play that will no longer exist on any stage on Earth. But here is what nobody is saying out loud. The Cursed Child has always been the most argued about story in Harry Potter history. Half the fandom refuses to accept it as canon. The other half defends it fiercely. And now the version that caused that argument is being replaced. The original story that 10 years of fans have been fighting about will never be performed again. And the new version removes the exact things that caused the argument in the first place. We will get to exactly what changes and why it matters. But first you need to understand what the original story actually was. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child premiered at the Palace Theatre in London on July 30th, 2016. It was written by Jack Thorne based on a story by Thorne, J.K. Rowling, and director John Tiffany. J.K. Rowling described it as the 8th story in the Harry Potter series. She called it canon. The story is set 19 years after the events of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Harry Potter is now a senior Ministry of Magic official with 3 children. His youngest son, Albus Severus Potter, starts at Hogwarts and is sorted into Slytherin. He becomes best friends with Scorpius Malfoy, the son of Draco Malfoy, who is rumored by some students to secretly be Voldemort's son. The 2 boys steal a time turner, attempt to travel back in time to save Cedric Diggory, and repeatedly make things worse. Each time they return to the present, the timeline has shifted. The play's villain is Delphi, who presents herself as Amos Diggory's niece, and is eventually revealed to be the secret daughter of Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange. She is trying to use the boys to prevent Voldemort's defeat. That is the story, the original story, the one in the published script. Now here is what the new version has done to it. The Guardian's review of the shorter version observed that some characters had been dropped entirely, and noted that one major secret villain character is now barely on stage at all. That character is Delphi. Delphi is the villain of the entire play. Her reveal is the twist the original story builds toward across 2 full parts and nearly 5 hours of theater. In the new version, she is barely on stage, which means the reveal does not land. Which means the twist that the original was built around is present in name only. If you had never seen the original, you would not know what you were missing, but if you had seen it, you would understand immediately that something fundamental had been removed from the structure of the story. The second change is the characters who are simply gone. Some characters are dropped entirely and go unnoticed. Others are reduced to the point that you wonder why they are included at all. Albus's older brother James is forgettable now. Their sister Lily is entirely gone. Lily Potter, Harry's daughter, gone. She does not appear in the new version. James Potter appears but has been reduced to a negligible presence. The children Harry and Ginny raised are no longer really there, which changes what the play is actually about when it tries to examine Harry as a father. Only a small fraction of people watching this have subscribed to Potter Files. If you want every video we make going this deep into what is actually changing in the wizarding world right now, subscribe now. We go deeper than anyone else. Now the biggest change, and this is the one the fandom has been discussing for 5 years. The relationship between Albus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy. The original two-part cursed child was deliberately ambiguous about the nature of their bond. They were written and staged with an intensity that went beyond friendship. Fans interpreted it as romantic. Creators refused to confirm or deny. The fandom called it queer baiting. The argument ran for years. The new version changed it. In the updated version, Delphi refers to the weakness that Albus has for Scorpius as love rather than as friendship when she is torturing Scorpius with the Cruciatus Curse. Additional dialogue in relation to girlfriends was cut, as were some of the interactions between Scorpius and Rose that implied romantic chemistry. A scene was added in which Albus describes Scorpius as the most important person in his life in a conversation with Harry. The original hedged. It placed two boys in an intensely emotional relationship and refused to name what it was. That ambiguity was either a feature or a failing depending on which fan you asked. The new version names it. Not explicitly, but Delphi calls it love. The straight dialogue is cut. The scene where Albus tells his father that Scorpius is the most important person in his life is framed as a moment of paternal acceptance. The argument that ran for 10 years about what the relationship was has been resolved, not by the original creators being clear about their intention, by the story being rewritten until it said something different, which means the original version, the one that caused the argument, the one that 10 years of fans have been interpreting and defending and criticizing, will no longer exist anywhere except in a script book that describes a production no one will ever stage again. Here is the part that connects to everything happening right now. The HBO Harry Potter series premieres Christmas Day 2026. 7 seasons, 7 books, ending with the epilogue of Deathly Hallows, the epilogue that introduces Albus Severus Potter at King's Cross Station. The new one-part Cursed Child in London begins performances on October 9th, 2026. That is 6 weeks before the HBO series premieres. The story of Albus Potter, the next generation at Hogwarts, becomes newly relevant the moment the HBO series starts. Every viewer who finishes Season 7 will immediately want to know what happens to Albus next. The Cursed Child is the only canonical answer to that question, and the version of that answer that will exist from October onwards is different from the version that existed for the first 10 years. That is not necessarily worse. The new version may be better, tighter, more emotionally honest. Many people who have seen both say it is, but the original existed. It was seen by over 11 million people worldwide. It was the story that defined how the wizarding world continued after the books. It was controversial and flawed and original in ways that the shortened version has smoothed away. And on September 20th, 2026, it ends. The HBO Harry Potter series premieres Christmas Day 2026. Showrunner Francesca Gardiner, the Emmy Award-winning writer from Succession, director Mark Mylod, who directed Succession and Game of Thrones, producer David Heyman, who produced all 8 original Warner Bros. Films, executive producer J.K. Rowling with full creative oversight. 7 seasons of the story we know. And then for anyone who wants to know what comes next, a one-part play that replaced itself the same autumn the series began. The Cursed Child is being erased. Not entirely, but specifically. The version that caused 10 years of arguments is being replaced by a version that resolves those arguments by removing the things that caused them. Whether that is progress or loss depends entirely on what you thought the original was trying to say.